And welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to another week, another edition here of the PondCast episode 91, your weekly dose of all things StarCraft. I'm of course VIP. With him, I'm joined by these amazing, or by the topic list, of course, ahead of us, and of course by Kura handling the production side of things as well. Welcome, one and all, to again our weekly wrap-up show, where we do cover all things StarCraft news and StarCraft adjacent news as well. There's a lot to get into. Once again. As always, though, hope you've all been having a great week full of StarCraft. There's been so much going on with all the qualifiers, non-sub qualifiers for RSL and GSL. We'll get into it, don't you worry. But first things first, we do have a new podcast, or at least a new talk show coming into the scene. First is going to be us covering Beyond the Ladder episode 1. This is again a talk show slash podcast that is being run by Ladder Legends, and this first edition does have the two co-founders of Ladder Legends, GamerRichy and Chadderzo as well. The two of them coming together here, and it wasn't the most structured of podcasts. They both kind of came into it, and they both kind of had some brief discussions, a bit of a Q&A, talking about their own love for the game, their own kind of like ways into the game as well, their approach to coaching, and a nice little brief introduction to our two co-founders. Of course, we've heard recently from GamerRichy regarding his interview over at Home Story Cup, now seeing a little bit more of him alongside fellow co-founder as well. Honestly, it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun hearing the two talk and the two banter more than anything, getting a better feel for what the founders are like and their plans moving forward when it comes to Ladder Legends, beyond Ladder Legends as well, potentially other games on the horizon, and how they approach coaching overall, and the platform, of course, that they do promote, or that they bring together. But honestly, it was a lot of fun. It's something that has been dearly missing from the space, is more talk shows and more podcasts, right? Like, long gone are the days of Remax and Unfiltered and The Late Game, for example, the Pylon Show even. Like, it's been a very, very, very long time since we had these on a regular basis. We have our podcast, of course. The reason why we became a little bit more frequent when it comes to our talk shows, because there's just a massive space that has been left vacant, and we haven't really had much step in. I'm thinking of like the High Yield podcast, if you remember. That was a couple of years ago as well. It's been a while since since we've heard from the High Yield boys, and many others as well. So yeah, there's definitely room for something like this to discuss, whether it's StarCraft news, whether it's something else, whether it's regarding their platform, coaching in general. Do look forward to it. Do look forward to just hearing something else, something more StarCraft related on a regular basis. Hard to say whether this is going to be like, a weekly talk show or podcast, or, every other week, or something more sporadic as well. We'll see. Definitely something to look forward to, though. Definitely something to look forward to. So do check it out. Again, it is a nice, short, little, moment here, little call between the two co-founders of Ladder Legends. Let's go. Let's go. So do check it out. Meanwhile, that leads us into our next piece of news here. That leads us into the StarCraft miniatures game. Oh boy, pre-orders at this point, I believe, have concluded. And this was streamed a couple of days ago, of course, wrapping up that whole pre-order section. I of course had my pre-orders, and we had a bit of a Q&A here, just talking about upcoming plans when it comes to upcoming models, some rule set adjustments, how they're going to be approaching that as well, potentially even how some distribution is going to be working when it comes to some regions. But more importantly, we did have some revelation as to how much they sold and how well the pre-orders did go. Remember, this is purely just pre-order, by the way. And I'd have to they themselves said that they overperformed and they excelled quite well. I'd have to double check and look into it. I'm curious. I'll go into this maybe a little bit later on after the show, but whether or not this is the most successful miniatures game pre-order release out there, I'd have to again double check. Pre-order is maybe not the most newest of things to go into, but yeah, so going into it here, the online orders, they were able to sell 141,000 products. When I say product, that is not like individual models or anything like that. That's, say, buying the 2-player bundle. That's one product. Buying the Protoss army, or the collector's edition. That's like its own individual product as well. So they were able to sell 141,000 through online orders. That was purely through online orders, and through retail pre-orders, they received almost 280,000 as well. So coming together here, we had an insane amount sold, over 400k orders, products I should say, and again that's purely via pre-orders. So again, we're talking about how again they were able to exceed their own expectations. For them, for greater context, again that's why I would want to actually look at other releases for other miniatures games. But they said this was a big success, and they're very, very happy with how things have gone when it comes to their pre-orders, when it comes to the current sales, and the projected success moving forward as well. What I will say is that they mentioned that like because of the success, they're probably going to have to like ramp up like their production schedule like moving forward when it comes to like making sure that they're able to release things on time. Of course, they don't want to release too many units too quickly. They of course are very cognizant of the fact that they don't want to flood the market and hurt their own customers, I should say. So a release every 2 months is kind of like a little bit more acceptable instead of like a release every single month, just because it'd just be a little bit too much. But yeah, very happy with their sales. They even went for a bit of a breakdown in regards to countries and the sales spread from country to country as well. The US being the biggest competitor, the biggest exporter, I should say, or they built the most many units, followed by Germany, followed by Canada, Australia, and so on and so forth. So again, very in the end, very, very successful so far. When it comes to the pre-orders, that is the first step, of course. Up next is going to be the release. They did mention themselves that they are going to be confirming and releasing the rule set momentarily towards the end of April, which is going to be in a couple of days' time. And likewise, they even went a little bit more into greater detail when it comes to their app that they've been using, that they have been updating, of course, when it comes to the upcoming release schedule. And they even went into a little bit more greater detail in regards to the Q&A. They spoke about some unique dice sets that they're working on to also kind of release with the game itself. They were referring to like upcoming bundles. They're referring to, of course, the upcoming projection of like other sets that they're going to be releasing in the future, like Purifiers or Raiders or things of that nature. Just re-clarifying all of that. And yeah, I do recommend it. Again, it was a full Q&A here, like an hour and a half, going through all the questions posed in the chat. A lot of them were, just asking about specific miniatures, upcoming models, and different variations as well. There was like finer details into discussing how like they didn't find it feasible to like create a miniature for like a tank that sieges, for example. Like instead they have the siege tank already model and the unsiege tank model, things of that nature. Upcoming units, they were even having like a bit of a discussion, like when they release Tassadar, what kind of version of Tassadar they release. Oh, sorry, not Tassadar, Phoenix, and Tassadar as well. Phoenix, which kind of version, which kind of variations, and things of that nature. So yeah, it's a very in-depth Q&A, and again, when it comes to other kind of big things that were announced here, it was kind of their sale figures that they were quite transparent with, and I'd say that they even teased that for the next Q&A they're going to be giving a bit of a tour of the factory itself, so you can see them, creating the models and things behind the scenes a little bit as well. They did tease that towards the end. So yeah, so shout out to Archon Studios for, of course, their success when it comes to the pre-orders and the upcoming miniatures game. I know that I'm excited. I'm gonna paint them horribly. It's gonna, yeah, it's gonna be awful, man. It's gonna be awful. But do look forward to it. And again, I believe they do host this like StarCraft miniatures Q&A on around a monthly basis. They also spoke about how they were at a recent trade show as well, and how they were like like everyone was talking about like the StarCraft miniatures game, like everyone that had to be at the trade show, like they actually had some StarCraft merch of some kind or another. They even sold out of their models at the trade show as well, that they were selling, and they were talking about their successes that they've been having in recent times when it comes to recent like shows like that, recent venues, recent conventions even as well, that they have been going to. So yeah, that sounds good, Pappy. Sounds good. I definitely hope the hopium is real. Hopium is real moving forward. I know there's been a lot of concerns when it comes to breaking into the wargaming scene, just because it is a scene that is dominated by Warhammer. And we even saw it on Reddit as well, how there are a lot of people that are really excited about the StarCraft miniatures game, but they're like, oh, like I mean, I'm already like neck deep in Warhammer. Like I don't know if I can like afford to branch out and get into another miniatures game, which is fair. Like again, Warhammer is very, very expensive. It's also the most popular out of all the Warhammer, all the or the war games out there, or the miniature war games. So branching out and having another competitor, it's definitely a space that's. Is there room for like another kind of like big miniatures game? Obviously, there's more than just Warhammer, of course, but Warhammer is kind of like the biggest name in the scene. We'll see how StarCraft does, and we'll see if it can carve out its own kind of scene as well. Hopefully, hopefully. Up next, we do have a next piece of news here. It is going to be the StarCraft Evolution League and changes moving forward. So this is interesting to say the least, but it was recently announced, today even, was announced today that the bi-weekly Open Cups are going to be discontinued. So it is a really difficult decision to make. Hyper One, of course, he has been organizing the StarCraft Evolution League tournaments, and it's always been a difficult balance to make. Like, do we have these weeklies? Do we have these bi-weeklies? Do we have these monthlies? And when do we have the big seasonal circuits as well, which have been, I believe, on an annual basis for the most part. And it looks like a decision has been made to discontinue the bi-weeklies, to start having these Open Cups and instead have these bigger leagues on a more irregular basis. You know, like every couple of months, a couple of times a year, you'd have this big league instead. Personally, ideally, you'd have both. Right, ideally you'd have both, right? You'd have the Open Cups and you'd have like the Code S, like big circuit, big league, you know, on a seasonal basis. But the reality is that at the moment, when it comes to the StarCraft Evolution scene, there isn't really many other tournament organizers that are pushing for their own events. Last year was a little bit different, right? Last year we had SE Boy. SE Boy, they had Kung Fu Cup, StarCraft Evolution editions, right? So we had multiple different tournaments featuring SC Evo. We had some of the show matches as well, especially from the CIS region. We had the 2v2s. So there were some other events going on. But this year in 2026, SC Boy, they have been focusing and fixating on StarCraft II, especially with NetEase coming into the scene and organizing and funding events. So SC Boy have been focusing on SE2 proper, less so on, say, Warcraft Evolution or StarCraft Evolution. So that has been a shift in focus for SE Boy, and that has hurt StarCraft Evolution when it comes to the amount of tournaments that are featuring their mod. So it's a difficult decision to make for sure. I do think this is probably a better decision if the goal is also to be able to gather data for upcoming patches. We have been quite critical of the fact that we've been seeing some patches kind of dictated purely off of results from like a single bi-weekly tournaments, which doesn't really give you much data to work with at all. But I would hope that this coincides, like one feeds into the other, where we start to hold off on patches until after a season, right? You run a season, you run a league, right, of a GSL, you know, a GSL Code SC Evolution. You run it, and then afterwards, after you have all these games played, right, the group stage, whether it's round robin or not, multiple group stages, the playoff bracket as well, you can then have so much more data to work with to be able to come to certain conclusions about certain units, about certain matchups, and then, you know, take that and use that to be informed moving forward, coming to the next patch. I would hope that I mean, in my mind, that makes the most sense. That's maybe even one of the reasons why they're doing this as well, is to have a little bit more data, be a little bit more informed when it comes to making these decisions and making these changes. I do think that's going to be a positive thing. It's just a shame that it's one or the other, right? And that's kind of like the place we are right now with StarCraft Evolution. Is it's one or the other. Either we have the Open Cups or we don't. I mean, ideally, again, as I mentioned before, ideally we'd have both. Looks like at the moment, the funding is only available for one of said things, either the league or the Open Cups. So yeah, it is going to be a pretty big change here. Likewise, same is going to be done to Code A. The Code A weeklies or bi-weeklies are also going to be discontinued as well. And there's also going to be a seasonal event for the more amateur and up-and-coming players as well. Now, I should also emphasize that I believe there is going to be a distinction between different events. So there's going to be the StarCraft Evolution League Season 3 Ladder Invitational, which is like a big invitational tournament based on, you know, ladder activity. But on the side, there's also going to be Code S, right? These are two different major events, of course. So, going to be looking forward to it. The one thing that I do hope for is to see a ladder map rotation soon. There are certain maps, like, especially in the last year, we would go through map rotations quite frequently, with relative frequently, maybe like every couple of months. But like, how long have we had Sylphid? How long have we had Vermeer in the StarCraft Evolution map pool? Yeah, I would hope that we're able to like rotate. And how long have we had Holy World? Like, what? Yeah, yeah. We talk about like SC2 ladder map rotations and how long it takes for that, but I feel like SC Evolution has been stuck on some of these maps for a very, very long time. And I would hope to see a bit of a shake-up, and I'd hope to see them shifted around and moved around and updated in some way. Um, that's one thing that I'm hoping for, and having these seasonal events will make it easier to do that as well, right? Like maybe every season we have a patch, maybe every season we have a fresh map pool, right? Like it's a little bit easier to kind of like, draw a line in the sand and be like, okay, with the end of this season, that starts, the beginning of like a new era here where we can, revitalize the map pool and make some changes and move forward coming into the next season. I would hope that would be the case here with StarCraft Evolution moving forward. Hope for it to be the case. But regardless, best of luck. Best of luck. As casters, of course, we'll be covering the event as best as we can. If you've been following the CranKy Ducklings, you would know that at the moment, the biggest issue, of course, is just we have so much going on right now, especially with TLMC, especially with RSL and with GSL. We have very, very, very little room for other events, and we've been falling behind in certain aspects. I will say that towards most of April, we've been catching up. I've been very happy to see that we have been able to catch up and catch up with a lot of these events. But like once we catch up, then bam, GSL, bam, RSL. It's like like the events, they just keep bam, Maestros of the game, right? That's another big event that's on the horizon as well. So it's a lot. It's a lot to kind of go through. It's a lot to get into, and oh boy, hopefully we're able to catch up and have the room to be able to cover these events without too much issue. That's the other thing about the StarCraft Evolution League, is that the bi-weekly is like we've been pushing back often time and time again because there's just no room for them. So again, we just haven't been able to cover them as diligently as we used to in the past. But hopefully that changes soon. Hopefully that changes coming into June, May, June of this year. Fingers crossed, fingers crossed. So again, best of luck to Hyper One and to those working on the StarCraft Evolution League. I'm sure it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm sure it's going to be very exciting, and we'll be there to cover it ourselves as well. We'll at least be covering the like Code S and the Ladder Invitational. When it comes to Code A and Code B, we'll see. We'll see if we are able to. It might be one of those things where we only cover the playoffs for those events, for example. Might be. Oh. Up next. Up next, we do have the Maestros of the game. Okay, so we have, speaking of, we have confirmation. Maestros of the game has been confirmed here and has been announced. And there is crowdfunding available already. So, Jesus, we've almost reached the goal, by the way. 24,000 euros out of 35 euros have been raised. So already the French community, I mean, we saw this a lot for the last Maestros, to be fair. The French community has stepped up, has stepped in, and have donated heavily when it comes to the main event. And of course, if you're out there, you can help support this event yourself as well. There's a link that's going to be available un momento as we make sure we're able to provide said link in the chat. But there is a crowdfunding page, and you can help contribute to make this event a reality once again. Bearing in mind, Masters of the Game was a big event last year. We saw the best players in the world facing off. We had Cyril, we had Clem, we had Rainer as well, and many others. Hero, of course, was there as well. It made for an amazing tournament. The vibe, the crowd was amazing. I think my big criticism was that we did not get Funka rapping on stage. We wanted more rapping between with Funka.
They did rap though. There was that one time they did rap.
If you remember, they did. But if you remember, there was God, I think it was during the finals. There was like a big moment where like we expected it. Like they were on stage and they were hyping it up, and then they didn't do it. They didn't do it, Bappy. What happened? What? We want what I'm saying is we want more rapping on stage. Okay, that's all we need when it comes to Maestros of the Game number 2. So that's my big feedback. It's we need like a proper concert, a proper Funka and Coca concert. Let's go. But But yes, if you're out there, again, do check out the contribution page. Again, we've already almost reached the goal, and they're also quite transparent when it comes to the overall how all the funds are being split, how it's being spent, and how it all is coming together as well. When it comes to the event, I don't know if there are any dates confirmed here. I believe it does say vaguely June, so June 2026 is going to be Master of the Game number 2. Specific dates I don't think have been provided yet, at least on the page. Oh wait, no, sorry, my apologies. That's right there. 27th of June. 27th of June. So end of June is going to be the offline event where top 4 will be competing. I believe there's going to be an online portion prior to that, of course. It's going to be the online portion leading into the offline finals. 27th of June. Oh boy. And currently the prize pool is marked to be $10,000. I believe that is 10,000 euros. Yeah, 10,000 euros. Cool. So again, and likewise, I should also mention that they've already proven themselves to be able to run an event, run an amazing event. So there's no concerns when it comes to like, oh, like where's the money going? Like, what's the event going to look like? You know, what expectations to have? Or we already have those expectations. They're quite high from the previous edition last year. If you missed it, I do recommend the VODs because we did cast it ourselves. True. We were there. I think we co-streamed, right? I think we co-streamed.
I think
no,
we
got a clean feed.
Yeah, we got a clean feed.
Yeah. We got a clean feed. Yeah, true. Good
I remember because I remember I had to like make very interesting overlays for that tournament. Let's put it at that. And it involved, guess what? A lot of spreadsheets.
I remember. But yes, do check it out. Do check it out again. The crowdfunding is available and almost reached that goal. 69% funded. Nice. Up next, we have the RSL. The RSL, the Rival StarCraft League Season 5 map pool has been updated. So this was a pleasant surprise. A pleasant surprise here because we already had the map pool revealed coming to the qualifiers, right? We already had the map pool updated and revealed to the people, but it looks like we have a new map pool. We have a new map pool instead that has been brought to the table. Voting has concluded. We have removed Throne of the Dunes, Mothership, and Taito Citadel, and we have added Attorney's Edge, Exarch, and Rorschach. So what I do appreciate is that we have added 3 upcoming 3 TLMC 22 maps. 3 finalists. That is great. Personally, I would have wanted to have removed all the other non-TLMC 22 maps that were added in. So specifically, I'm looking at Missing You Today, and I'm looking at Necropolis. Those are 2 maps. To be fair, Necropolis was a part of the TLMC 22, just didn't make it into top 16. But regardless, like I would want those also flipped and also switched to TLMC 22 finalists, because there's a lot of finalist maps there. There's no not like we're running out of kind of any maps to pick between. Like there's plenty to pick from, plenty to choose between, and I would hope to see more of those maps incorporated because there are so many of them. So it's a good step moving forward to have 3 TLMC maps added. I would want Missing You Today and Necropolis to be replaced with some more maps as well, though. So overall, though, it's a positive thing. Would have liked them to have taken one step further, but regardless, positive. Likewise, when it comes to the full map pool, it's Attorney's Edge, Exarch, Rorschach, 10,000 Feet, Celestial Enclave, Missing You Today, Old Republic, Ruby Rock, and Necropolis. So we have our new map pool. Oh boy. Speaking of the RSL, we have the qualifiers. We have the RSL Season 5 qualifiers. We have already concluded the Korean and the Americas qualifier. The European one is still around the corner. Still has yet to conclude. But hey, we were there to cast it. We were here to cast it and cover it live. Bearing in mind these are server qualifiers, so players from all around the world could compete. They could compete, but here they did not. That was one of the controversial things about the Americas qualifier is the low amount of signups. We barely had any signups for the qualifier. I think it was like an hour-long stream. Very short, very swift. We had, when it comes to notable players, we had Nightmare, Shameless, and Exiled. I'll say those are the 3 kind of big notable players. And we saw that Nightmare and Shameless kind of they cruised their way through. They cruised their way through the qualifier. Nightmare, he 3-0'd Exiled. Shameless, he 3-0'd Perceive. And then bam, we have our top 2 players make it into the Revival StarCraft League. And again, it's a bit of a shame here because I just realized we don't add it to the Wikipedia page for some reason. That's kind of weird. But yeah, the biggest issue here, of course, was that there weren't really many signups. I would imagine that just a lot of players just didn't know. They just weren't made aware. If you don't expressly tell players about a qualifier, then there's a very high chance they just don't know. They just don't check. They just don't know, and they were unable to compete because this was a pretty good time for Koreans to play in this qualifier. Very, very good time for them. And again, they were just unaware, except for Nightmare and Perceive. The Korean qualifier was a lot more stacked, but again, like those players, they missed the opportunity to play in the Americas one. They could have, totally could have. But again, with that, congratulations to Nightmare and Shameless. We covered it alongside Bomyoja. Heading on over to the Korean qualifier, we had a bit of a more stacked bracket here. We had Classic, we had Percival, Solar, Shin, we had Sort of, who's currently in Korea, we had Rex, we had Young Yakov as well. Now, what I will say when it comes to this event is that this was a tale of the ladder hero Silver BV. I actually reached out to Ryung afterwards. I was like, hey, should I know who this guy is? He's like, nah, he's just a ladder hero. He's like, okay. Just confirming what we knew. Silver BV, he has played in GSL qualifiers before. He played in the last year's GSL qualifier. So he has played in some qualifiers, but that's it, really. He's more of an unknown player. He's more of a ladder legend, a ladder hero, if you will. And he 2-0'd Young Yakov. Obviously, he had the server advantage, but he was able to take down Yakov 2-0. Even with server advantage, like Yakov was the heavy favorite, so a crazy upset there by Silver BV. And he had a really good showing against Percival. The score here says otherwise. It's like 2-0 in favor of Percival, but no, the games themselves were very close, very clutch. So shout out to Silver BV. He was looking very impressive in this qualifier, and I'm excited to see more of him, to be honest. I want to see more. In my mind, he was the standout performer of this qualifier. Meanwhile, we had Classic. Classic, he took down Percival 3-1 to qualify for the RSL, and we had Solar taking down Shin at 3-2 as well in that qualifying match. So Percival and Shin, they do fail to qualify again. We could have seen them play in the American server qualifier. Could have. But they will have another chance, of course, in the European server qualifier, which again is still a ways away. Still a ways away. We'll be covering it next week. We'll be covering it on the podcast, I should say, next week. We won't be casting it. It's at a very, very rough time for us here in Australia, so most likely we will not be casting it live. But again, do wish them the best when it comes to the players, the commentators, and those that cover the event itself. I'm looking at the signups for it, and I can see Rex, I can see Nicaract, I can see Sort of, Jumi, Silver BV. He's also there as well. I wish him the best. Wish him the best when it comes to the European qualifiers. That is going to be another 2 slots. Now, if you have a favorite player here that did not qualify for the RSL, and if you're concerned about them, don't worry. Remember, there's also Patreon voting. The patrons, they vote for new maps. They also vote for players, for which players they want to compete in this event. I believe there's going to be 2 players picked via fan voting specifically from the Patreon members. Now, in seasons past, it was limited to players that only competed in the qualifiers, but remember, last season they broke that rule, and they added, like, Maru and Clem. Like, they added players that didn't play in the qualifiers, didn't even sign up or failed to check in. They just added random player names, and they made it through. They made that decision. Those at RSL, I mean, I do think that's the wrong decision to make. Like, it feels kind of weird. I would want to, like, incentivize and promote the players that actually played in the qualifiers and give them another chance. But starting last season, they did open it up to a grander player pool, even to those that never bothered to try to qualify. So we'll see. We'll see what kind of player list is available for the patrons to be able to vote for. But I'm wishing the best. Wish them the best. As that does lead us into our next bit of news here, that leads us into the other qualifier, the GSL qualifiers, which were a couple of days ago. We did host the restream or the rebroadcast earlier this morning, just as a heads up, and it was a pretty intense qualifier with some crazy upsets as well, by the way. So jumping into this, this was a one-day event. It was very, very intense. It was very long as well. It was like, what, a 7-hour qualifier? Like, it was it was crazy. Like, we didn't cast the entire thing ourselves. It started before we went live, that ended after we ended the stream as well. So it was a very, very long qualifier, an intense night of StarCraft. For those that are curious, for the GSL qualifiers, they've not been casted live since 2018. It's been a very, very long time since we've had live coverage of GSL qualifiers. They just don't allow it. But this season, we were able to basically almost have live coverage. What was happening, we went live on Soup, and basically as soon as the series concluded, we got the replays. And bam, we were able to cast them. So we were able to cover these qualifying matches and these matches just as they were finishing, so like 30 minutes after the fact, if you would. Not quite live, but as close as we could. And we had some crazy upsets and some crazy results. Up first, we had Group A. We had Hero. Hero took down GimeRichy 2-1, took down Rogue 2-1, and Hero was able to qualify for GSL and make it through into the winners group. The way this works here, I should very quickly emphasize, GSL this season is 12 players. Only 12, so a very, very, very small season of GSL in terms of how large the player pool is going to be. So top 12 do make it through, but the reason why there's a winners bracket or a winners group is because players that qualify for GSL, they can play amongst themselves to skip the first group stage. They can just get seeded right into group stage 2 instead. So that's why there's a winners bracket, where all those players, they made it into GSL, but they can fight to like skip around. So Hero takes down Rogue 2-1 to qualify for GSL. Percival takes down Bjorn 2-0, by the way, and takes down Solar 2-1. We did cover that series. It was an intense TVZ, and Percival, he qualifies over Solar for GSL. Crazy, but crazy. Then had in the lower brackets, Rogue, he took down Bjorn to qualify for GSL, and then we had Solar taking down Zaun 2-0 to qualify for GSL as well. So we had Hero, Percival, Rogue, and Solar from Group A. We then had Group B. Group B was Maru. Maru took down Shin 2-1. Qualified for GSL over Shin. Was intense, back and forth, went to the ace match. Classic barely took down Cure 2-1 as well. Also into the ace match. Classic does also advance on into said GSL. Shin took down Bunny, and Trigger took down Cure. That was also an intense back and forth, but big win there for Trigger and for Shin. Congratulations. In the end, we do have our top 8. It is going to be Hero, Percival, Rogue, Solar, Maru, Classic, Shin, and Trigger. They will make it into GSL. Now, when it comes to that winners bracket, all those players we just mentioned, they did face off against each other in that winners group. Here we did have Trigger. Trigger, he 2-0'd Hero to make it to the upper bracket semifinals. Classic, he 2-0'd Rogue. Classic 2-0'd Trigger, and Classic is seeded into group stage 2. So Classic, he skips around and it makes it straight into group stage 2. Shin, he 2-0's Percival, he 2-1 Solar, gets his revenge from the RSL qualifiers, and Shin also skips group stage 1 and goes straight into group stage 2. Likewise, we have Hero, he 2-0's Rogue, he 2-0's Solar. Hero also skips around, he also goes straight into group stage 2. Maru takes down Percival 2-1 and takes down Trigger 2-0 to also get seeded directly into the next round. Okay, so Classic, Shin, Hero, Maru, they are seeded directly into group stage 2 for GSL. Meanwhile, we had the last chance bracket. We had the losers bracket. Here, basically, we had a bunch of players that got knocked out early on to have another chance at making it into GSL. Oh boy, this is where players were finally eliminated, and we had to bid adieu to. Here we had Bjorn. Bjorn takes down SOS 2-0, takes down Cure 2-0, and Bjorn barely does qualify for GSL. Okay, one of the final slots available. Bjorn makes it through. Bunny takes down GimeRichy 2-1, takes down Zaun 2-0. Bunny also qualifies for GSL over Zaun. SOS takes down Nightmare. Nightmare is out of GSL, will not be a part of it. Likewise, Ryung 2-1's Gumiho. Gumiho is also out as well, will not be a part of GSL. Zaun, he 2-1's SOS. SOS also knocked out of GSL. Zaun makes it in. He will be a part of the Global StarCraft League. And Cure takes down Ryung 2-1. Very close, very intense one, all the way to the ace match, but Cure also makes it through just barely into GSL. My condolences to Ryung. GG all played. With that, we have our top players here. We have our top 12. We have our top 12 making it through. And with that, congratulations. Congratulations to our top 12 players. Congratulations to Classic, Shin, Hero, Maru, Solar, Trigger, Rogue, Percival, Bjorn, Bunny, Zaun, and Cure. 12 players that make it through into GSL Season 1 for 2026. When it comes to notable players that did not make it through, of course, Nightmare was eliminated, SOS was eliminated, Ryung was eliminated, Gumiho was eliminated. Another big notable name that we should bring up is Creator. We did the chat noticed this actually when we were going through the qualifiers and when we were casting it live, is that Creator notably is not a part of this qualifier at all. There was no public announcements when it comes to Creator's retirement, but Creator not playing in this does lean towards retirement. There were definitely rumors. Apparently, he was during streams, during his personal streams, was talking about thinking about retiring and stepping away from the game. I wouldn't say this is like necessarily confirmation that creator has now retired, but at this point now, there's a very high chance that he has that he's choosing to step away. Of course, time will tell. We'll keep an eye on any upcoming tournaments to see if he plays in anything. But again, not playing in GSL qualifiers, that's a huge sign. Just because this is the big event, right? It's the big event of the season amongst the Koreans. He's already built up towards. So it's a bit of a feels bad, man. Feels bad, man. Again, we're big creator fans here, big creator fans. So wishing the best moving forward. Whether he does decide to retire or not, we wish him the best. This format looks fascinating. This is the same format as last season, and maybe even the season before. So 2025, if you're looking at GSL last year, it was the same format in regards to we have the qualifiers, and then there's ways to like get seeded directly into future rounds. It was the same thing last season, or last year. But that leads us into our next big event. That leads us into the WardiTV TLMC contest number 16. Oh boy, here we go. So this is the big event that was featuring all the new TLMC maps. Of course, we've been featuring the maps. Big Star Cub's been featuring the maps. Monday Night Weeklies as well. Many tournaments have been featuring all these maps, but this is kind of like the official one, like tied it to the TLMC with all the sponsorships, of course, as well, all tied into this one big major tournament featuring the top 16 maps to soon be voted on, featuring At Attorney's Edge, Blackrock, Defender's Lab, Exarch, Fear and Faith, Lockdown, Lumen, Old Sun Temple, Rainfall, Rorschach, Sanctuary, Storm Surge, Verdant Temple, Voidstorm, Washout, and Wave Breaker. Oh boy. So we have our top 16 maps. Bearing in mind as well that if you are curious as to what our thoughts were on these maps, I was one of the judges of this season's TLMC, and we did have some judging streams. The votes are available over on YouTube. We are going to be having a kind of a big wrap-up summary finalist stream covering specifically these 16 maps soon. I do have confirmation from Wax that we should be able to do that within the next couple of days. So just as a heads up. That will be on the horizon. That will be happening soon TM. Until then, though, we can go over this event. Now, when it comes to the players themselves, we had a qualifier and we had some invites. 18 players invited and 2 players through the qualifier. For Protoss, we had 9 Protoss players. We had Classic Creator. There he is. We had Classic Creator, Hero, Max, Showtime, Trigger, Zaun, Geralt, and Skillus. For the Terrans, we had Bunny, Beyond, Clem, Cure, Nickrat, and Percival. For the Zergs, we had Lambo, Rogue, Shin, Solar, and Young Yakov. So decent spread of players. Now, when it comes to the group stage and when it comes to the playoff matches that we're about to go over, the scores are, I guess, somewhat important. But remember, bearing in mind that this is all played on a fresh custom map pool, and I would argue that what's more important, more than the results, are the games themselves, to be able to see what happened in these matches, how the maps played out, whether they produced good games or whether they didn't, how players approached them, what kind of features were utilized, was anything abused. I would say that there's like a lot of value to be had specifically for watching these games specifically, whether it's in the group stage or at least watching the playoff matches as well. I do think there's a lot of value there just to see how these maps played out, of course, just to see them. It's hard to really, despite that, it's really hard to judge like how these maps play out because it's the first time that everyone's playing on them, and it takes a while for the meta and for players to really kind of like settle into these maps. It does take quite some time, weeks, months even, but regardless, it does give you a bit of an idea as to how these maps would play out and what you like and what you don't like out of these maps as well. First things first, we had Shin. Shin, he was able to come out first in Group A. It was Shin alongside Max, alongside Björn. Zaun is out of Group A, likewise so is Nickrat, just barely. Over in Group B, we had Rogue, Classic, and Clem making it through Group B. Lambo and Skillus knocked out. Oh, Clem struggling here in the group stage. Oh my god, what happened? Clem, he dropped a map to Skillus, he lost to Rogue, and he also lost to Classic as well. But Clem, he barely does make it through. Bearing in mind, once again, that like some of these results look look crazy, by the way, for Clem to lose to Rogue and mainly just lose to Rogue and to drop a map up against Skilless. Once again, though, these are unique maps. They all have their own quirks and features. There are 4-player spawn maps. There are healing pads. There are crazy terrain features like exposed bases, open bases, rush distance by ground.
By the way, speaking of, I think, was it Lockdown? There's this one map that has the towers that you can knock over, but they are like kind of like blended in with the terrain. I saw that the map maker was already working on like making them a bit more visible, so the players know that this is something you can actually do, that is like part of the mechanic of the map. Because I do agree that they blend in with the background a lot. So there are already like steps being made to make it more clear.
Yeah, there are already changes being made to certain maps. Like, I've been contacted by some map makers as well, which I appreciate, after receiving feedback from our streams, and they're also looking to make some changes as well. Some crazier than others, by the way, but but we do appreciate it for sure. And again, like, these maps, I'm sure, are going to be adjusted and adapted throughout the course of this period of the TLMC. I think another good example of that is, like, if you remember, like, AVEX would very often be commissioned by map makers to just, like, make things a little bit prettier.
Unironically, just decorate the map. I think there are a few map makers that do that. That, like, there are some map makers that just aren't very into the decorating process itself. So, like, they make the layout and then they, like, commission someone else to decorate the map.
Yeah. It happens. So these are not the final forms of these maps. They will be adjusted, of course, moving forward. But with that, we had, again, Rogue, Classic, Clem making it through Group B. Group C, we had Hero, Percival, and Showtime making it out of Group C. Young Yakov and Bonnie struggling here in that initial group. Group D, we had Solar, Cure, and Geralt making it through. Creator and Trigger struggling and failing to make it out of that group stage. Leads us into the playoffs. So with those playoffs, it looks like we already have a couple of results coming in. Classic took down Hero 3-1. Bearing in mind this is double elimination, so there is going to be that second life down there in the lower brackets. Shin takes down Cure 3-2 to advance onto the upper bracket finals, upper bracket semifinals. So we have Classic versus Shin on the horizon. We have Percival. Percival takes down Solar 3-1 to advance on. Big win there for Percival, but hey, not the first time. Percival, he beat Solar already in the GSL qualifiers to qualify for GSL, and here he beats him again a couple of days ago in the TLMC Wardy tournament. We also have a Rogue versus MaxPax that will be taking place later on tonight in 3 hours from this message. Again, later tonight we have more of these matches, and this event will conclude over the next couple of days. So we still have Rogue versus MaxPax upcoming, Hero versus Geralt, Cure versus Clem, Solar versus Beyond, and Showtime versus the loser of Rogue and MaxPax. Coming into this event, again, it's hard to call favorites just because of the unique X factor that are these new maps. So it's hard to really judge. But in my mind, the top player here is going to be Classic. Basically, it came down to Classic versus Hero. It's crazy that they faced in the first round, but whoever would win that series would be favored to win the entire event. So Classic is favored to go on a deep run and to claim it all, from the upper bracket at least. Bearing in mind the lower bracket, Clem is down there, right? Clem is down there. Hero is now down there as well. There's a high chance for like a Hero versus Clem series once again. And I do still favor whoever wins between the two of them to make it far and to threaten Classic, of course. Those are the three players that I'm looking at: Classic, Clem, and Hero. But I wish the best to all these other players because they can threaten them 100%. Solar, Shin, Cure, MaxPax, Rogue. They can threaten these players. They can bring them down, and they can have their own deep runs as well. Best of luck. But what I will say is that more importantly, when it comes to this tournament, again, it all comes down to the maps. It comes down to the maps, it comes down to how players do utilize them, and how they're showcased as well. That's kind of like the most important factor coming into this event. Looking at the maps, true. It looks like we have, so far all the maps are being played. I appreciate that we have the map statistics as well. For sure. But still limited data, still limited information. We'll get there. So best of luck. Again, this will be taking place over the next couple of days and wrapping up by the end of the week. That leads us into the Ladder Legends Academy Valedictorian Cup number 1. Valedictorian Cup number 1. Qualifier. That's quite a mouthful. Jesus. We gotta speak to Ladder Legends about their naming scheme for their tournaments, because they are very lengthy, and they could be worked on 100%. God damn it.
I just want like a foreigner to try and say that name. Because I struggle, and I speak fairly fluently.
So when it comes to the main event here, the Valedictorian, I'm curious if this has any limitations here. It's a $1,000 tournament. Oh my god! So it has a hefty prize pool, double elimination, massive event. I don't think we have confirmation as to who's going to be covering the event itself. Looks like Lad Legends, they have their own Twitch channel. But yeah, they're hosting their own big tournament here. Does feature OSC points as well, and I'm just looking to see if there's any other information regarding the event, specifically when it comes to any kind of regularity with the event itself. So very quickly here, looks like this is a 2-day invitational. I mean, quote-unquote invitational. There's a qualifier. But it's a 2-day tournament. 2-day tournaments with the upper bracket and lower brackets. I do appreciate that it's taking place over a couple of days' time. When it comes to the map pool, looks like it's going to be using the current ladder map pool. No TLMC maps, which is a bit of a shame, but all good. Looks like Eddie's going to be helping to run the events. Cool. So it looks like Eddie's going to be helping to admin, run the tournament. Draven as well. And Draven might even cast. If you remember, Draven, he used to cast back in the day. So it would make sense, because I know right now he does work with Lad Legends, for him to step in as a caster once again. Cool. Let's go. But yeah, big event here, mainly invitational. So far, we have Cristiano and MaxPax invited to the event. We have Bunny and Percival invited as well. So we have our 4 invites. And it looks like we're waiting for 2 more invites. Based on the pattern here, we have 2 Protoss invited, 2 Terran invited. I would imagine that we're going to be seeing 2 Zerg players invited. If we have players of the caliber of MaxPax and Percival, I would hope that we invite either Solar or Shin, at least one of them when it comes to Zerg representation. I would hope that that's the case. When it comes to the qualifier itself, top two do qualify. It was double elimination. Beyond takes down Jimmy 2-0, takes down Geralt 2-0, takes down GG Machine 3-0. Oh my god. Does breeze his way through, and Beyond does qualify for the main event. Meanwhile, we did have GG Machine actually take down Yakov 2-0, Art 2-0, and took down Nickrat 3-1 to qualify for the event as well. Nickrat did well though. He took down Jumi, Art, and Shameless. Very strong showing there from Nickrat. Again, his best matchup is TVP. It is his strongest matchup. He does excel there, takes down some of the other top European players, but does fall to the machine in the end. So congratulations here to Beyond and GG Machine. It looks like Steadfast casts this event, so there's a high chance that maybe Steadfast casts the main event as well. That may happen. Hard to say, no confirmation. With that though, but regardless, do wish them the best. Do wish them the best when it comes to the main event itself. Will be taking place soon. TM. Very quickly, actually, when it comes to dates, it looks like we have slotted in the 25th. Okay, the 25th of this weekend. Jesus, the 25th of April. This weekend is going to be the main event. We don't really have that much time to confirm the Zerg invites, so hopefully they're able to invite soon. Hopefully. That leads us into our modded tournaments here. That leads us into the StarCraft Evolution League Doubles number 2. This is a 2v2 tournament featuring StarCraft Evolution. This is a mod that does put together Brood War versus SC2. And coming into this event, do we have any unique pairings here? We had Beyond and Solar once again joining forces. We had Minizerg and Sickness. We had some Chinese duos here. Quite a lot, actually. Okay. Interesting. I know that Iceland has been hosting his own events, his own StarCraft Illusion events, so I'm sure he also did promote to the Chinese region. We have Classic and Big Gabe working together for the first time in StarCraft Illusion. That looks like a lot of fun, to be honest. We had Ubu, Thermal, and Diego. We had Blask and Goblin, Def Mars and Zardian, so they're a common duo. GG Machine and Shameless, also a common duo as well. Rebellion and Dancing Pants? Who the hell is Whose pants are dancing, Pappy? Okay, Rebellion. Interesting. We have Spirit and Lambo. That's a unique duo. Huh. Usually it's Lambo and Hearthstone, or Lambo and Showtime, or Lambo and Max Pack. It's usually Lambo and the Protoss. Not often here does Spirit team up with Lambo, so interesting. They don't make it far. We had Homodo and Kots, and we had Rake and Iosop. Okay.
Chad is pointing out this is where all the pants went.
Oh no, they're dancing. Rebellion took them. He took the pants. He's playing 2v2s with them. That's the Rebellion. Took all the pants. But yeah, GG Machine and Shameless, they're a very common duo, and oh my god, they go far. They win the entire event here. They take down Deathmars 2-1, they take down Rake and Isop 3-1, and they take down Classic and Big Gabe in the grand finals. Now, I will say very quickly, I'm very impressed that Classic and Big Gabe did actually make it that far. They are not very, actually, sorry, Classic, he is the best Protoss player in StarCraft Evolution, true, but Gabe doesn't play it at all. Gabe, there's a very high chance, because the way that the 2v2 format works is that when you play, only one of the two teammates need to play StarCraft Evolution races. So Gabe, he may have just played SE2 the entire time, like StarCraft II Terran, and Classic, he would have just covered the Brood War Protoss the entire time instead. There's a very high chance that happened. But yeah, so Classic and Gabe, they took down Euthermal and Kelazur, they took down Atheshi and Prome, they took down Bjorn and Solar, went all the way to the ace match, and they did end up falling to GG Machine and Shameless in the grand final. So congratulations to the Shame Machine for making it through and for becoming our champions. GG. GG, well played. I guess what I'm most impressed by here is that they are very well versed when it comes to 2v2, but they don't really play too much StarCraft Evolution. GG Machine, he does dabble in it, Shameless less so. He's not really a common competitor, but I guess he could have also just relied on SE2 on that StarCraft II Protoss race. But that leads us into the 5.4K patch clash number 16. Again, this event is featuring the Patches Balance mod, which is a very unique balance mod, and likewise is limited to 5.4K players, MMR players, and below. You might notice here some top players that are more than 5.4K, but they're off racing. So Shameless, he's off racing as Terran. We have Mizerg UA, off racing as mini Protoss UA. He is playing Protoss instead. We have Astra. It's been a while. I see Astra's there. Universe we see there. Deathmars off racing as Zerg instead of Protoss. Any other notables? Matrix. Matrix is off racing as Terran instead of Protoss as well. So a lot of off racing. A lot of off racing in the end. But Deathmars, he takes down Astra 2-0, takes down Universe 2-0, takes down Faye 2-0, and takes down J Money 3-0 in the grand finals. Oh my god, very impressive play here by Deathmars, not chopping a single map, even while off racing. GG. GG, well played. Does claim the series and is going to become our 5.4K patch class champion. Congratulations. Congratulations. That leads us into the amateur events. That leads us into the Amateur League Weekly number 156. This is a weekly weekly tournament here for amateur players. We have different editions for different MMR ranges on a regular weekly basis. Up first, we had the Initiate series for Bronze to Platinum. Here we only had 2 players, so low amount of signups here. We had Dollar Tree Dipper and Power DC. Dollar Tree Dipper does claim the series 3-1 over Power DC. Congratulations. Leads us into the Veteran Edition. This is Diamond 3 to Diamond 2. Here we have many more signups, a little more representation here for the Diamond region, the Diamond MR range. We had Lauren. Lauren takes down Smite Steel 2-1. Lauren takes down Clefoutis 2-0. Clefoutis takes down Chanson as well, and takes down Sugarcold II in the grand finals. Big win here for Lauren. GG, well played. GG, well played, very impressive. That leads us into the Prestige Edition. That leads us into our Diamond 1 to Masters 2 edition of the tournament. Here we have more representation here. We have a lot of regulars as well. I see Beast, I see Steez, I see Boreal, Herald, Vendetta Vic, and Matrix as well. So coming into this, we had Herlut taking down Vendetta 2-0, taking down Boreal 2-0, taking down Beast 2-0, and he does take down Beast in the rematch as well. This time went all the way to the ace match. All the way to the ace match here, but Herult does take down Beast 3-2 in the grand finals. GG, well played. Congratulations. That finally leads us into the Elite Edition. Again, this is the edition that barely doesn't have any signups here. The reasoning for this is because this is for GMs. This is for basically the pro scene and the pro players, but they often don't play in this because this event does not provide any prize money. It only provides points. So that's why they're not really playing for any prize money here. So often pro players do avoid this event. We had Himars. Himars does get the walkover win. GG. GG, well played. does win the Elite Edition. That leads us into our monthly tournament, Masters 1 Open. Masters 1 Open number 102, a bronze to Masters event up to 4.7k MMR. It's a monthly tournament, and we did feature a brand new TLMC 22 map pool. We featured Attorney's Edge, Blackrock, Exarch, Lockdown, Lumen, Old Sun Temple, Rorschach, Verdant Temple, and Wave Breaker. We had a fresh kind of setup here, fresh lineup of maps. Again, as we mentioned previously, we are doing the best we can to host all of our tournaments on the new TLMC map pool. That is our goal. Coming into the event, we had Zigger. Zigger takes down Valley. 1-0 takes down Milka, 2-0 takes down M the Great, who was the previous SDO champion, by the way. May have excelled in SDO, but does struggle here in MSO as he does fall in the semifinals. Zigger makes it to the grand finals. Meanwhile, Beast from the other side of the bracket took down Defiance 2-0, took down the Knicks 2-1, and took down Zigger in the grand finals 3-1. If you remember, Beast in the previous Amateur League Weekly came second place to his opponent, to Herlilot. Here, Beast takes down Zigger 3-1. To be our champion. GG, well played. Congratulations, Beast. Let's claim the win. I would quickly say though, Kuro, do you have anything to say about the maps played themselves? I will say that it is very common, and we saw this in Pickerstar Cup, we saw this in some of the other tournaments that feature these maps, is that at least in the pro scene, it was just non-stop cheese, non-stop aggression, and we rarely got to experience some longer macro back and forth. But what was it like over in the amateur scene?
I mean, there was aggression, but it was a bit of a mix. Specifically, I remember, I think it was Beast who apparently decided to showcase a hero's build. At least that's what the chat told me, that like literally Hero just played this build and Beast decided to showcase it, which was early Tempests. Not Proxy, just Tempest, but it was early Tempests with carriers later on. It was an Adepts on the ground, a Glaive Adepts on the ground, and it was very interesting, let's put it that way, and effective.
Okay.
There was also this one moment. Was it M the Great? I'm not sure. There was one of these players who actually used. I think it's on Blackrock when you have like this little like pocket like hidden with the grass, just between like the natural and third base, and they just put like a whole bunch of zealots into the grass and was waiting for the opponent's army and just jumped them with charge lots. That was Chevsky's.
There's a lot of tall grass on Blackrock. It's like you're playing Pokemon. You step into it, bam.
Yes, exactly. But that was just, it was the perfect ambush, and I'm pretty sure the player was like on the back foot as it was happening as well, and it was just like waiting for the opponent's army to come, like with the ambush prepared. It was great. Nice
to hear. And again, moving forward, at least until voting ends, we are going to be featuring all these maps. Even after the voting ends, we're probably going to keep featuring them as well. If you recall, Kuro, like I believe there is a rule when it comes to OSC events where we can have like, I think it's four
maps that
like,
are not
custom
ladder,
maps.
that are not like,
So
actually that are not OSC map pool specific.
So we're most likely going to be doing that moving forward. That's going to be after the voting concludes, of course. We'll be picking 4 maps to add, and we might just keep rotating those 4 maps as well. We'll see. We'll figure it out moving forward. Figure it out. That leads us into the StarCraft II Community Team League 2026 Spring Regular Season. Whew. Get another mouthful. That we have round 3. Round 3 does conclude. Coming to round 3, we had PCEC taking down Astartes 4-2 in their own series. We had Starlight Twinkle taking down Old Man. Ooh, that's a big upset, actually. I mean, I say big upset. I would say that these are 2 of the best teams in the league. Starlight Twinkle and the old men. The old man. Where's young Yakov? But they're a very strong team as well. So we had a back and forth. Jeshi took down Jolly Loves 2-0. Young Zest and Kingslayer, they tied 1-1. We had Rewhite over Coffee 2-0. That's actually a big win. I favor Coffee over Rewhite, but Coffee is he is an old man. I mean, true. Coffee is out of practice, so maybe I'm rating him a little bit too highly when it comes to his current form. But Rewhite does take down Coffee 2-0, and then Young Zest takes on Kingslayer 1-0 in the ace match. Are we missing someone though? Hold on. Very quickly. I recall Old Man has Cyan, right? Cyan, he's an old man, isn't he? He's God. Yeah. So Cyan, aka Lancer, he is also on Team Old Man. I would say he's the strongest player on Old Man, but he didn't compete. Didn't play this week. So that's a bit of a shame that I would argue, their strongest player wasn't able to play specifically against Starlight Twinkle, right? Like I feel like we gotta be fielding Cyan here against Starlight Twinkle to be able to bring them down, to have a chance here against the other teams. You can get away with maybe skipping out on Cyan, but I feel like you gotta bring your A game here. They weren't quite able to. GG. GG well played. That led us into Toad Project. Toad Project over Team Little Fairy. Oh, that's a big win, actually. Ghost Runner takes down YRYF. UD Soldier and Moku, they tied 1-1. And then we had the tied 1-1 scoreline between Ear and Daydreamer as well. GG well played. Bearing in mind that I believe they had the other big player for Little Fairies, I think it's Karma Prime. Let me just double check. Here. Yeah. But UD Soldier is now like the new ace match for Team Little Fairy, and hey, he was able to at least tie with Moku. At least tie up. We had Leor versus Team Super Kitty. Super Kitty did take down Leor 4-2. We had Elpis over Kauda, 6-0 in favor of Elpis. Big win for Elpis. Elpis are another one of these big teams that is favored to make a deep run and to be like top 3, alongside Solid Twinkle and Old Man as well. Then had Super Puppy over Team Fairy Thug, 2 amateur teams. We had Rookie Warpgate over Elpis 3, 4-3. And then we had Protoss the Best over Team Hist 4-3 as well. GG well played. With that, so we do have our round 3 concluding. Congratulations to our winning teams. And again, we are mainly looking at some of these bigger teams whenever they do face off against each other, like Starlight Twinkle, Old Man, Elpis, and Little Fairy, as they're all going to be facing off in round 4 in a couple of days' time. So best of luck, because again, this is the Chinese Team League. They have a lot of weeks, a lot of rounds ahead of them, of course. It's a massive Team League. It's still a ways to go. GG. GG well played. That leads us into our next big event. That leads us into the Auction Cup. Okay, an event that we have not seen or heard of before. The 1st of May.
We have covered the group stage before, yes.
Oh, the group stage. Yes, the group stage, yes. When it comes to the main event, we'll see if this becomes a regular or if it's a one-off. Hard to say. Did begin at the start of the month that we did already cover said group stage. It's a bit of a more amateur event when it comes to the Team League format. I'm very unfamiliar when it comes to the teams and their lineups, so I can't really give too much expectations as to the teams themselves. I know Latte, that's it. I know that's the only one I know, but it's the only one. But when it comes to the playoffs here, 16-12. What is this? What is this format? Best of 25? Okay.
I was so waiting for you to see that score because it's hilarious.
So it's weird. It looks like best of 5s. So it looks like best of 5s here between each player. So initially we had 3-2 in favor of one player, then we had 3-1, 3-0, yeah. So it's basically a bunch of best of 5s here in this Team League format, which led into a best of 25 because it's 5v5. Likewise best of 25 as well. That is insane. Oh my god. Never seen a format like this before. But sure, why not? 16-12, 14-9. Animals, by the way. Let's Google Translate. Hold on. What are the names of these teams? Hold on. Sister God's kindness is never ending. Is what one of them translates to. He qualifies for the main event. I don't even know what that is, by the way. And then we had Fragrant and Soft DNN also qualifying as well. I say qualifying. Obviously, these teams did earn prize money, of course. But I'm uncertain as to where the top 2... Oh, it says here. So the top 2 in the group stage competed for the championship. Last 2 teams compete for 3rd place. Okay, so it looks like there's going to be like a upcoming major event that these teams are going to be taking part in later on down the line. Okay. Fair enough. Get me out of the Auction Cup. Get me out of here. Up next, we have the StarCraft II Weekly Open Tournaments at 2026 Season 1, Number 4. If you recall, this is the replacement for Sunrise Cup. Basically, Thunderfire, they came in and they came in with a massive amount of prize money, and they have allowed for the Sunrise Cup to transform into this weekly open tournament with a $500 USD prize pool. This is a bigger prize pool than, say, like WardiTV Mondays, like these other open cups. It's a massive prize pool here, a lot of money on the line, and it allows for the Chinese scene to thrive, of course, competing on a regular weekly basis amongst themselves. Coming into this, we had Lemon. Lemon takes down Misaki 2-1, takes down his next opponent in the quarterfinals, 2-0, takes down, oh, is that Nanyo? God, it's been a while. No, sorry, that's Shafei. Okay, takes down Shafei 2-0. Shafei, who took down Millennium Fox in the quarterfinals. We have been seeing better and better results out of Shafei. Or Shafei. Hold on, I need to, what's the pronunciation specifically? Yeah, Jaifei. So Jaifei has been getting some really good results recently, and to take down Millennium Fox 2-0 is a big win for Jaifei. Does fall to Lemon in the end, as Lemon does advance onto the grand finals. Scrolling down, we had Jeshi. Jeshi takes down, is that Sarah Kerrigan? That's Lanmin. Okay, takes down Lanmin 2-0 initially, takes down Kingslayer 2-1, takes down Jolo Loves 2-0 to make it to the grand finals, where Lemon does claim the series 2-0 over Jeshi. GG, well played. We are missing some regulars though. Like, we have Millennium Fox, that is true. We have Shafei. I don't see Nanami Chiaki. Yeah, I don't see Nanami, and I don't see Nanyu either. Like, Nanyu's Chinese characters are typically shorter. Yeah, so no Nanyu, no Nanami Chiaki. No Cyan, of course. There's Triple H, true. Triple H is there. But there are some other regulars that we're missing, and I don't see Sarah Kerrigan, unless Sarah Kerrigan played against Kingslayer. Yep, did. We know. Okay. Did play against Kingslayer. But GG well played. Congratulations to Lemon for claiming the series and for becoming this week's StarCraft II Weekly Open Tournament champion. GG, well played. With that is going to be our champion this week. Up next, we do have our Legacy Weekly Japan, our weekly open tournaments for the Japanese region, and this time, here we go. We have Tapioca Boba. Tapioca does claim the series, does take down Sayark 2-1, takes down Noah Shirayuki 2-1 in the grand finals. GG, well played. Congratulations to Tapioca, to Boba for claiming the series, for becoming our champion once again. GG. Our champion, Papi, our champion. One day, Boba will branch out and play in other tournaments outside of just Japanese events. One day. Up next, we have the Insane Master Killers Champions 2026 Primavera. This is a big event, a big in-house tournament, I should say, for Insane Master Killers, or Latin American tournament, and the event has been progressing over time. Dark Unnamed takes down Quadruple Z 2-0 to advance into the bracket finals. We have Havertz taking down Ryder 2-0, and we have a best of 3 upcoming upper bracket finals between Dark Unnamed and Havertz. As I mentioned previously, Dark Unnamed is the heavy favorite to win the entire tournament. I'll be surprised and impressed to see if anyone can bring him down. Best of luck to Havertz. Best of luck. Likewise, we still have Nux versus Raza, Ire versus Jasherd, the Mike versus Crystal, and Solstice versus Lechero as well. Still ongoing, still series to come. So best of luck. Best of luck to all the players in the Insane Master Killers in-house tournament. That leads us into the Eurasia Cybersport 2026. This is an event that is limited to university players, by the way, to those in university. Here we had, once again, a player that we haven't seen in quite some time, Astra. Astra, if you remember, we did see in the patch tournaments, the 5.4K edition. It's been a very, very long time since I've seen Astra compete, and great to see Astra returning here, taking down Tulsa 2-1. Does fall to Art, takes down Ultramarine, and then falls to Art once again. Art was the heavy favorite in this event, does claim the series 2-0 over Astra to be our champion. GG. GG will play. Congratulations to Art for first place, Astra in second, and Ultramarine in third. That leads us into the Bassus Big Man Bouts at number 112. This is our semi-regular events here, show match series. I don't think we had one last week, so semi-regular, mostly on a weekly basis. But here we had the basic one, Cell versus Hero. We had the fun one, Mana versus Goblin, and the good one, Spirit versus Scarlet. Oh, interesting. Okay, interesting pairings. Up first, we had the fun one. We had Mana taking on Goblin 3-1 in a best-of-5 series. Again, Mana was coming as heavy favorites. Up next, we had a draw. We had Scarlet versus Spirits. Oh boy, I can only imagine what happened in game number 2. But best of 5 did go in favor of Spirit. Impressive to see that Scarlet did make a series out of it. So did take a game on Taito and forced a draw on Tourmaline. That is insane. Draws are rare, and hey, we experienced one in this series as well. So I'm sure that made for an amazing series. Congratulations to Spirit. Shout out to Scarlet for competing. That leads us into the Basilisk one. Several takes down Hero 3-1, getting his revenge from previous events earlier in the year. I believe it was it Rongi Cup or Thunderfire? It was one of the other big events where Hero did defeat Serral, but here Serral takes down Hero 3-1, getting his revenge all these months later here and does shut him down. GG, well played. We did have that back and forth. Again, unfortunately, didn't get to see the games myself, but I'm curious to see how the draw did actually occur over on Tourmaline. I'm curious, but regardless, do check out the VODs. Again, Rotterdam did cover this event in English. Did cast the event. That leads us into this week's OSC Weekly, the OSC King of the Hill Weekly number 244. This is a weekly OSC event that, of course, does feature the King of the Hill format. How does this work? We have 15 best of ones, back to back to back to back. The winner stays on, the loser is eliminated. So here we have Solar. He does start things off. Solar versus Percival. Solar takes down Percival 1-0, takes down Nightmare, takes down Geralt. We're forced to Ledalix? Oh my, well done. Bappy, what happened? Jesus. Ledlix calmed down on 10,000 feet. I need to see what happened there. What the hell? What happened? I'm excited. I'm excited. I'm sure some shenanigans did occur, but very impressive result here from Ledlix. Takes down the Solar, does end that win streak real fast and real quick. Does cheese the hell out of him, I'm assuming, in that best of 1. Then it was short-lived. Homono takes down Ledlix 1-0. F2 Click takes down Homono. Impressive, by the way. I do favor Homono over F2 Click. Wait, what? So F2 Click takes down Homono, but we have Bappy versus Homono afterwards? Interesting. Maybe F2 Click wasn't available and Homono just kept going. Hard to say. I'm assuming that's over, say, like a misreporting of the score. Regardless, Bappy takes out Homono. Art takes down Bappy. Art goes on his own win streak, actually. Takes down Bappy, takes down Cristiano, takes down Eva as well to get a 3-game win streak going, equivalent to Solar. Before Björn pops off, Björn takes down Art. MaxPax then takes it from there. MaxPax takes down Björn, Shameless, Geralt, and Hydra. MaxPax going on the longest win streak here, winning 4 games in a row. So 4 games for MaxPax, 3 for Solar, and 3 for Art. Those were the top players with the longest win streaks. Congratulations to MaxPax for becoming this week's King of the Hill. GG, well played. And again, a shout out to, I mean, despite that, I would say the most impressive result here was Ledlix over Solar. That was the most impressive result. Congratulations to Ledlix. Congratulations. That leads us into our next big event. That leads us into the KSL, the Korean StarCraft League, number 88. Oh boy. No. But here we go. That leads into the KSL number 88. This is our weekly open tournament, monthly open tournament for the Korean region. Here in this event, very Protoss and Terran heavy as always. We had Classic takes down Perceive 2-0, takes down Björn 2-0 as well to advance onto the grand finals. Cure, meanwhile, took down Homono and took down Hero. Crazy win there for Cure to bring down Hero 2-0, but short-lived as a Classic takes down Cure 3-0 to become this week's KSL champion. GG, well played. We did cover this event ourselves, and from my recollection, I believe we followed Classic. We're in Classic Perceive into Beyond into the grand finals. I believe we did miss out on Cure versus Hero, if I'm not mistaken. Oh no, was it the other way around? Did we go Cure Homono into Hero into the finals? It's been a long week. It's been a long week, but regardless, congratulations to Classic. Does claim the win over Cure. Congrats. That leads us into the Platinum Heroes SC2 Tour Season 26 Cup number 3. Jesus. This is a monthly tournament here on a regular basis, run and organized by Platinum Heroes and Platinum Esports. It does bring together, it's at a much more European friendly time, but we had some Koreans here as well. Okay, interesting. We had young Yakov. Yakov takes down Geralt 2-1, takes down Lelix 2-1, takes down Nickrat 3-2 in the semifinals. Very intense back and forth in those semis before facing off against Nightmare in the grand finals. Nightmare took down Fiant, took down Arts, and went up against young Yakov. Just before we get into the finals, though, Art did take down Percival. I would have said that Percival would have been favored to maybe even win the entire tournament, but no, Art has some crazy results. We bring this up every now and then, but Art, like, he's an animal. That was mainly showcased in the WardiTV team league, where Art, he was like sniping some top players in the team league, which was insane. Here as well, 2-0 Percival. Percival, he's a GSL caliber player nowadays, like Codes, like damn. Big win for Art. Even takes the map off of Nightmare. Nightmare does claim the win over Art just barely in that best of three. And then we have young Yakov over Nightmare in the grand finals. Congratulations to Yakov. Congratulations. GG well played just claimed the win. That leads us into the Sparkling Tuna Cup TLMC 22 edition. Once again, as we mentioned previously, we'll mention it again, but our tournaments have been running with our own, or with the TLMC maps. TLMC maps in every single one of our tournaments, featuring the entirety of the map pool as often as we can. Coming into this event, we did have Hero. Hero, he takes down Perceive 2-1, takes down Young Yakov 2-0, takes down Percival 2-0 to face off against Beyond in the grand finals. Beyond likewise took down Homono, Iosop, and Classic. Big win there for Beyond. Takes down Classic 2-1, takes down Hero 3-1 as well to become this week's Tuna Cup champion. GG well played. We were able to feature every one of these maps except for Rorschach, which we did feature at the very end of the series. True. So we were able to feature a lot of these maps. For the most part, though, as I mentioned previously, a lot of aggression, a lot of all-ins. We didn't really get to delve too far into any kind of mid to macro play on these maps. We saw a lot of aggression, a lot of cheese, a lot of proxies instead, which is to be expected in the current meta, in the current map pool. We're expecting that in the standard map pool, and we're seeing it here as well. Hopefully, though, we're able to sink our teeth a little bit more into some of these other maps in the upcoming weeks of play. Hopefully, but regardless, GG will play. Congratulations to Beyond. Beyond took down Classic and Hero. Big wins there for Beyond. GG will play. That leads us into the WardiTV Monday number 83. Now, unfortunately, a bunch of tournaments like ourselves and the other tournaments are featuring new TLMC map pools. That is not the case for the WardiTV Mondays. This happened last season as well, where we forwent like OSC partnership to run our events with the new maps. I'll say the same about Monday Night Weeklies and Pigazor Cups. Like for all these events, we did forego OSC partnership to run them with a fresh map pool. Wardy, he has decided not to do so. So as a result, he maintains OSC sponsorship, but he has to commit to like a standard map pool instead, which is a decision that is made. Personally, I'm against said decision. I think it's important to showcase the TLMC maps as much as possible. But Wardy has, I mean, it also makes sense to Wardy because he also organized the TLMC tournaments, and that's exclusive to Wardy. So like that does put a little bit more emphasis, a little bit more importance on that event. So there's rationale, like as an organizer, for why you want to make that event more special than the others by specifically showcasing those new maps on that specific TLMC tournament. But when it comes to benefiting the scene as a whole, I do think that it would be more beneficial if the WardiTV Monday also, just like everyone else, used a new custom map pool specifically during this period to showcase as many TLMC maps as possible. So I would say it's a negative thing, and it's a bit of a shame that Wardy is just maintaining a regular map pool here. But we'll see if it changes moving forward. We'll see if they do adapt and if some of the new maps get added on moving forward into the upcoming weeks. We shall see. But I'm not holding my breath because last season it was the same thing. Last season was the same thing where Wardy did just maintain the regular ladder map pool. Up first, though, we have the results. We had MaxPax. MaxPax takes down all the non-stop PvPs. Jesus. MaxPax takes down Showtime 2-1, Hourfire 2-1, Hero 2-1 before facing off against Classic in the grand finals. Pure PvPs from MaxPax, by the way. Purely PvPs. When it comes to the other side, Beyond took down Harsum 2-0, took down Percival 2-0, and did fall to Classic. Bearing in mind, Beyond beat Classic in the Tuna Cup, Classic beat Beyond here in the WardiTV Monday. So we have a bit of a back and forth. Classic, his run was quite impressive, actually. He took down Cure 2-0, Solar 2-1, Beyond 2-1 as well. You can definitely argue that Classic had the most difficult road to the finals. I say argue, 100%. 100%. His run to the finals was the most difficult, and he does take down MaxFax in the grand finals 3-2, went all the way to the ace match, but Classic comes out on top. GG. GG, well played, well earned win here for Classic. That leads us later on that night into the Monday Night Weeklies. As you can see, we have a full map pool of TLMC maps: Attorney's Edge, Blackrock, Defender's Lab, Fear and Faith, Rorschach, Sanctuary 3, Verdant Temple, Voidstorm, and Washout. I haven't seen enough games on Voidstorm, I'll be honest. We have a full TLMC 21 map pool. This is different to our map pool, which is a good thing, featuring as many maps as we can, of course. So coming into the event, we had Hero. Hero took down Strange 2-1, did fall to Björn in the upper bracket semifinals. Okay, big win there for Björn. Takes down Hero 2-0. Clem takes down Classic 2-0 as well. Oh my god, Clem 2-0's Classic, Björn 2-0's Hero. Non-stop, the Terrans are popping off, but that leads us into the upper bracket finals. Clem, he shows Classic and Hero how it's done. Clem, he does win with his Protoss against Björn 2-0, and then he wins in the rematch 2-0 as well in the grand finals. GG, well played. Clem is going to be this week's Monday Night Weekly champion. Scrolling down to the lower bracket here, I don't see MaxFax. It looks like MaxFax did not compete. We had Classic, he took down Bunny. In the lower bracket. Hero took down Percival. Hero took down Classic, and then Björn 2-1 Hero. Björn beating Hero twice in this tournament. Big wins there for Björn. GG. GG, well played. Impressive play there by Björn, and congratulations to Clem. That leads us into this week's Pigasus Cup. Pigasus Cup number 78, also TLMC 22 edition. Coming into this event, the map pool is at Attorney's Edge, Defender's Lab, Fear and Faith, Lockdown, Old Sun Temple, Rainfall, Rorschach, Storm Push, and Washout. As you can see, when it comes to all three of our tournaments, Pigasus Cup, Tuna Cup, and Monday Night Weekly, we all have some similarities in which maps we chose this week, but I do appreciate that we have some differences as well, right? We have a couple of changes here and there featuring some of the other maps. We're going to be rotating our map pool on a weekly basis to be able to eventually cover every single map, of course. We'll be doing it. For this event, we had Hero. He took down Strange 2-0, took down Björn. He gets his revenge. Hero, he finally gets his revenge here over Björn, taking down Björn 3-2. Björn likewise took down Cure earlier in the tournament. Meanwhile, Clem took down Sham 2-0, took down MaxFax 3-1, and then we had a Clem versus Hero in the grand finals, a very intense back and forth. I do recall this: non-stop cheese, non-stop aggression, hyper aggression between both Hero and Clem. And with that, Clem took down Hero 3-2 to become this week's champion. GG. GG, well played. Congratulations. Clem does claim the win and does become this week's Pigasus Cup champion. GG. GG, well played. So this week, who did we have? One moment, though. So this week we had a Classic taking the win in KSL. We had Yako for the Platinum Heroes event, True for Platinum Heroes SC2 Tour. We had Björn for Tuna Cup. We had Classic once again for WardiTV Monday. We had Clem for Monday Night Weekly, and we had Clem as well for Pigasus Cup. Okay, so Clem, Björn, Classic, and young Yako popping off this week, claiming the Open Cup wins. GG. GG, well played, congratulations. And with that, if you want to take part in some of these Open Cups, you can do so via the sign-up list. ! Sign up list in the chat. The list will give you links, of course, to every single one of these events to be able to sign up, check in, and compete amongst all the other players. As you can see, looking at the sign-up list, we have up next the RSL European Qualifier. That's going to be in over a day's time, in a day and 5 hours, actually. So that is going to be tomorrow, of course, the European Qualifier. We have Cova Giants Cup this weekend. We have the Thermal 2 circuits, the bonus cup, we have Cova Giants Cup Latam, we have Tuna Cup over the weekend as well, WardiTV Mondays, Monday Night Weeklies, Kung Fu Cups, and many, many more. Bearing in mind that this week there was no Kung Fu Cup because of the GSL and RSL qualifiers. So usually Kung Fu Cup is on a weekly basis, but this week, again, there was no Kung Fu Cup, there's no KFC, we had all the qualifiers instead. True.
Speaking of Kung Fu Cup did reschedule a bunch of events in May, so do double check that calendar. And also, fun fact, we have a new tournament on the list, which is the Big Game Open.
Yeah. I don't know how regular this event is going to be, but Gabe, he was actually discussing this during the stream previously. He's been streaming a lot as of late. Been streaming a lot, especially when when competing in 2v2s. And he spoke about how he was planning on another big event soon, and he was telling everyone to look forward to it, of course. But it is going to be a big open online event. He's been hosting some offline tournaments as of late. That is true, but this one is going to be online instead. It's going to be online. Look forward to it, though. Do look forward to it. It's going to be featuring the standard ladder map pool. As that does lead us into, if you want to support our events and support the CranKy Ducklings, you can do so via Patreon, exclamation mark Patreon in the chat. Our Patreon does fund our events on a regular basis. It does help us grow the Tuna Cup, the Duckling Open, and the Swan Open as well. All funded via Patreon. You can help us out, help us grow them, reach greater heights, bigger stretch goals, and eventually even have some monthly finals once again. We had some monthly finals last year. We'll see if we can reach those goals this year as well. So you can help support us via Patreon. Otherwise, thanks so much for tuning in. Thanks so much for watching. Again, that does wrap up our coverage for this week's tournaments. Again, a lot of Open Cups, a lot of qualifiers, of course, and upcoming major events like RSL and GSL. They're all around the corner. We had some big news when it comes to the future of the StarCraft Evolution League, and also some amazing news when it comes to the pre-orders and the sales figures of the StarCraft miniatures game. And of course, the return, or I say the return, the debut of a new talk show / podcast from Ladder Legends. A lot of news this week, and we'll see you guys next week. Again, a weekly broadcast, a weekly talk show, all things StarCraft. Thanks for watching, everyone. Shout out to Kura for handling the production side of things, and we'll see you guys tomorrow for our next broadcast. When it comes to our next broadcast, we are going to be covering the StarCraft Evolution, speaking of SEL, StarCraft Evolution League at number 20. That'll be upcoming in the next couple of days. We have the Universe Titan Cup show match, and we have Tuna Cup over the weekend as well. And of course, don't forget the Thermal 2v2 circuit as well. Plenty of content, plenty of StarCraft upcoming. We'll see you guys next time. Ciao, bye, ciao. Until then.